Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today we're going to talk about time phrases in Russian. So what I mean by time phrases are things like now, today, tomorrow, yesterday, things like this. As you can tell, these are very important because they're used basically all the time in lots of situations. So knowing these is very important. First we're going to start with the word всегда. Всегда. I'm not sure where the root. I guess it comes from. You have все, which means all, or все, which means everything or all of some things, and you put that together with something else, and it gets всегда. But this means always. So you use this almost always with a present tense. I guess you could use it with the past as well, but it's mostly like things that happen all the time, obviously in English. So in English we use past simple, like I always go, I always do. In Russian they have to use an imperfective verb for this. So here are some examples. Я всегда забываю его имя. Meaning, I always forget his name. It's basically like exactly the same word as in English, the same order. Я всегда, I always, забываю его имя. So его is a way of saying his, but it's also a way of saying him. So if you say я вижу его, it means I see him, but it also means his. And it doesn't change the case, which is great, so you can say его in every situation. So the verb here is забывать, which just is the imperfective of forget. Я забываю. So the infinitive of this is забывать. The perfective form will be забыть. Забыть. So you can say, for example, я никогда не забуду. Я никогда не забуду. Забуду would be the perfective aspect, meaning I will never forget. For some reason, I guess it's, I don't know, because like it's forget is like it happens one time, so you use the perfective aspect. Anyway, that's all about aspect for now. Another example of всегда would be я всегда просыпаюсь рано, which is I always wake up early. Here we have what's called a reflexive verb, meaning it affects yourself. We don't really have reflexive verbs in English. I'll make a future video about it. But a reflexive verb basically means it's yourself. So I wake up myself, and you just add the ending s here. Просыпаюсь. Normally it's ся as the ending. For example, он просыпается. He wakes up. But when it's I просыпаюсь. So you just add an S to the end. That's basically all you need to know. So this is I always wake up early. And the one I said before, никогда, which basically you take когда, when, and you put ni at the start. And it kind of works with most of these question words, I guess. You have where, who, when. For example, you have никто, no one. Кто, who, никто, no one. Где, where, нигде, nowhere. Same thing with never. So когда, when, никогда, never. So again, никогда не забуду. Я никогда не забуду его имя. I will never forget his name. Okay, next we have a similar thing with когда, никогда. We have когда-нибудь. Когда-нибудь. You can basically add this to every word that's a question word. So, где-нибудь, что-нибудь, кто-нибудь. This basically just means, like in English, something, somewhere, someplace, some person, someone. So here, когда-нибудь means sometime. At some point in the future, I will do this. So, for example, you could say, когда-нибудь я хочу посетить Францию. I, at some point or sometime, want to visit France. Again, посетить is a perfective verb. So yeah, the perfective aspect is посетить. The imperfective is посещать, which is rarely ever used, honestly. I rarely hear посещать. You normally just say посетить because it happens one time and it's a complete action. And then we have давай встретимся когда-нибудь. Like, let's meet sometime. Again, встретимся means it's kind of reflexive, meaning let's see each other. let's see each other sometime. So instead of saying, like, I guess you could say, давай встретим друг друга. It's just easier to say встретимся. Okay, next we have the day words. So we have today, yesterday, tomorrow. So today would be сегодня. Сегодня. For some reason, the G is pronounced as a V. I have no idea why. It's one of those weird exceptions. So it's, you write G, but you pronounce it as a V. Don't ask me why. I just remember it. It's one of those weird exceptions. So, examples of сегодня means today. Here are some examples. Я пошел в спортзал сегодня. I went to the gym today. Here we have, it's basically the accusative case with in. If you want to say I want to go somewhere, you say v and then just the accusative case, which here is the same as the nominative case. Basically, sportsal doesn't change in the accusative case, so it's the same. So sportsal means gym. The sportsal means to the gym. Я пошел, I went by foot to the gym. So literally it means I went in sports hall today, is literally what you're saying. If you want to say I am in it now, я в спортзале сейчас. I am in, so you change the case, you add a different ending. But so this means I went to the gym today. Okay, next we have мы сегодня отмечаем день рождения моей сестры. Which means today we are celebrating my sister's birthday. Отмечать, to celebrate. And день рождения. День means day. Рождение is like birth, so it's like day of birth. So it's the genitive form. So my day of birth. So it's kind of like you're using both of these. You're saying like the day of birth of my sister, and you change the ending of my sister to моей сестры, моя сестра, моей сестры. So моя сестра would be my sister in the regular form. Моей сестры is the genitive forms. It just means of. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying not to go into too much detail, but so this means сегодня, today. I kind of have to explain some cases and stuff in some other parts of this. Alright, then we have вчера. It's kind of weird to say вчера, but you get used to it. That means yesterday. So you can say вчера я ничего не делал. Yesterday I did nothing. Вчера я видел моего друга. Yesterday I saw my friend. Alright, now we have завтра, which means tomorrow. Just tomorrow. So you can say, you can sometimes use the present as well. So я работаю завтра. I am working tomorrow. Just present tense, which is a lot easier. I work tomorrow. Or завтра мы пойдем на пляж. Tomorrow we are going to the beach. So for some reason, I think the rule here, but there's lots of exceptions is the problem. So if you're in a place that's outside, you normally say on. And if you're a place inside, you say in. So it depends. If you're going to, you say in. If you're in it now, you're there, you say in. But it depends on the situation. There are lots of weird exceptions. Like, for example, you say kitchen is inside, but hundreds of years ago, it was outside because you lived outside, because you lived in like a tribe. So they say на кухне. Yeah, на кухне. Why na? Because it was outside hundreds of years ago. They haven't changed it. So there's lots of weird. And also you say на заводе. On, like, I'm on a factory, for example. Don't know, it's just you kind of have to remember it, but plage is outside, beach is outside, it comes from French. So you say на, мы пойдем на. And again, perfective verb here because you're going one time. Мы пойдем, we will go. Okay, here we kind of have a combination because I kind of had to combine these. So we have раньше, which means before, and then сейчас, which means now. Here's an example sentence with both of them. Раньше я работал секретарем в банке. А сейчас я работаю в страховой компании. Which basically means before I worked as a secretary, but now I work in a what would you call it? An insurance company. I work in an insurance company. Bit advanced this, but anyway, just focus on раньше, сейчас. So here we kind of have what's a very weird thing they do in Russian. I don't know why they do this, but when you say I was a doctor or I became a doctor, they use the instrumental case. So the base form of this word is sekretar, secretary. And they just use the instrumental case when you say я был or я работал. I don't know why. For example, you could say doctor. Я работаю доктором. I don't know why, but they use the instrumental case. I believe it's the same in most Slavic languages. Yeah, you just have to remember it. A lot of the time, you can hear this. Another thing you'll hear is something like чем ты занимаешься, which is like with what you busy yourself. And they say чем, meaning with what. It's like the instrumental case. And yeah, you normally have to answer, I don't know, учителем, доктором, instrumental case. I'll go through the case endings in another video, but not now. And then in the bank, so I literally, it's you can't really translate it literally, but it's like before I worked as a secretary in bank. Now I work in insurance company. So страховой компании. Company is the same. Страховой just means insurance, basically. Alright, we have потом, which means after. So before we had раньше, сейчас, потом. Потом means afterwards. Вчера я проснулся в 8, позавтракал, потом я читал книгу. So that means yesterday I woke up at 8, I had breakfast, and then I read a book. So here, it's like we have a lot of lots of imperfective and perfective verbs here. Проснулся, it's kind of like, so you have просыпаться и проснуться. Просыпаться is the imperfective, проснуться is the perfective verbs. These verbs will drive you crazy. This just means like it's completed. So я проснулся, я не просыпался. Я проснулся because it's one time. Then we have позавтракать, which is the perfective form of завтракать, meaning to have breakfast, which we do not have this verb at all, because завтрак means breakfast. Завтракать means to eat breakfast, but we don't really have this verb in English. We just say I had breakfast, I ate breakfast. But yeah, it's a verb in Russian. So я позавтракал, I ate breakfast. Потом, after, I read a book. Я читал книгу. Alright, there's quite a lot of explanation, but these phrases are very useful. They're used quite a lot of the time, and they're kind of necessary to know. But that's all for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys soon.